Donner has built up a reputation for good, affordable instruments, and I just want to say a quick thank you to the team over there for sending over a few different kits for me to review. The first of these is the very competitively priced DED 200 Max. This replaces the outgoing DED 200 in a similar move to what went on over at Alesis with their Nitro Mesh and Nitro Max kits this year. The competition at this level in the electric drum kit world is very stiff, with a lot of different companies all vying for prime position for the ultimate electric drum kit for value, quality and reliability. So let's see how this offering from Donner fares. In today's video, we're going to talk about the look of the kit, the build quality, the sound quality, the size and portability, the features, the cost, and whether it's worth buying. To stay up to date with the latest reviews and comparisons, please like and subscribe, as it really helps us continue to produce new content. Now let's get into it. Now when you look at this kit, the first thing you notice about the DED 200 Max is the red colour on the drum pads. Again, the similarities with the new Alesis kits are very interesting to me. Red seems to have become the industry standard of kits at this level. If you don't like red, there's not much you can do about it, as this is the only colour it comes in. But I think it looks great and it helps the kit stand out. You get very generous pad sizes with this kit. Two of the toms are the standard 8 inches, but this kit comes with a 10-inch snare pad and a 10-inch tom 3 pad, as well as a 10-inch hi-hat pad and a massive 12-inch crash and ride pad. It's a good job the pads are quite large, as the rims are very chunky and the larger pad sizes help to stop them from getting in the way. The hi-hat pedal is a pedal on the floor in a simple housing, and it's always good to see a proper bass drum pedal and beater with a bass drum tower on an E-kit. The Donner logo looks good on the pedal, and while I realised I'm used to seeing rims on the bass drum pedal pad, I don't think it pulls too much away from the overall look of the set. Very impressed with how it looks. Now there's two sides with the build quality of this kit. So starting with the positives, the mesh heads seem very good quality. They're really responsive and the heads are adjustable using the drum key that comes with the kit. So you can change the head tension for a firmer or softer feel and replicate the feel of an acoustic drum kit. The pads themselves feel very tough and they can take a battering, which will be needed if you plan on practicing a lot or are a hard hitter. The simple pads are good too. The rubber gives a good bounce and seems sturdy. I have to say I love the frame on this kit. It's very solid and secure and there's very little movement, even when you're playing hard. The pedals are also on par with what you would expect at this price point too, and first impressions are good. They feel solid enough. The kick tower is where things start to go wrong though. The frame itself is fine, however I was puzzled when I first set the kit up and noticed the pad itself is a very soft rubber. Initially I thought this might be easier on the feet than the hard rubber that maybe you find on the Alesis kits. And while that is true, it introduces a problem in that the pad actually struggles to pick up two bass drum hits when they're played close together, like this. I also noticed that the hi-hat pad seems to struggle with faster playing. It's really strange and meant that playing faster passages were actually quite uncomfortable. This may introduce problems for an intermediate drummer that then starts experimenting with faster bass drum technique, for example. And that's not really something that you want to encounter at this price point. And another mild annoyance for me is how they set up the cymbal stands. They fit into the legs at the back of the frame rather than having their own mounting point that you can move around. The bigger pad is nice, but you may want to adjust the position a bit more. At this price point, I really would expect it to be a bit more configurable. This is actually the first kit I've got hold of that also comes with a stall and headphones, so it's great that these are provided. It's the only manufacturer that I've found that provides all of this together. The others tend to rely on their distributors, so I decided to take a look at these for the review. Unfortunately, I do have a couple of issues with them though. The stall doesn't feel very secure, and I had to put it on the maximum height setting for it to feel comfortable. But I tend to sit fairly low in comparison to a lot of drummers out there. It's fine for a child, I think. If you're an adult, I wouldn't recommend it. So it's almost a shame that it's included with this kit, as Donner could have used a little bit more money on the kit itself and let the customer choose the drum stall. I also wanted to test the build quality of the headphones and test the sound quality, but they turned up broken. Oh dear, not a great start. I'll probably do another follow-up video on this, as I'm going to report this to customer services to see what their after-sales support is like. So while everything feels like it's been made using good materials, there are a couple of design choices that let it down, and I'm still not convinced on providing a stool and headphones with this kit as a bundle. Now let's move on for the bit that you've all been waiting for. Let's take a listen to how this kit sounds. Recorded straight into Logic with no effects or compression, this is the default sound setting on the module. I have to say I'm quite impressed with the sounds on this kit. It definitely holds its own, and it's quite handy to have controls on the front of the module to adjust bass, treble and reverb, which this kit calls ambience. It allows you to tweak the sounds further to get the one you want. The kit does struggle with sensitivity though. It has a loud and quiet sample, and when it cuts between the two, it is quite noticeable. I also felt like I was wrestling around the sensitivity a bit, rather than it being a natural playing experience. While not necessarily a deal breaker, if you're a more experienced drummer, this is worth noting. The good news is that it has a USB MIDI input, so you can plug it into a computer and use a VST like Superior Drummer for better sounds. Also, when you're trying to play cross stick, the rim sound is useful, but it doesn't trigger when you play a cross stick correctly, with the butt of the stick on the head. You have to play across both rims, which is incorrect technique. And you have to play it in a very specific place on the pad, otherwise the sound doesn't trigger. This will be a problem if you're a student trying to learn grades, as these techniques will be required. If you would like to hear all of the pre-programmed kit sounds, I've linked a video in the description where I play through them all. The kit will arrive disassembled in boxes if you're buying new, and will take upwards of about 45 minutes for setup time, depending on how experienced you are setting up electric drum kits. If you've bought this kit and need assistance putting it together, I've linked a setup video in the description below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to catch videos like this and others for buying advice, setup guides and other tips and tricks. The kit's a medium-sized kit, so it's pretty easy to fit in a room, but it may be a bit too big for the really small spaces. It can also be flat packed when not being used for storage in a cupboard or just to get it out of the way. The larger frame does make this a little bit more difficult to pack away, so would probably be best suited for somewhere it can be set up permanently. It's not too difficult to move around in one piece if needed. It's just small enough to get through doors and move from room to room, although you may find it catches on the door frame a little. It's too big for a child to move, and some younger teenagers, but an adult will have no problem carrying the kit where it needs to be, and it will also easily fit fully assembled into a small hatchback car with the rear seats down. I'm 6'2" and I find it very easy to get into a comfortable playing position. The bigger frame also means that it should be able to accommodate people of nearly all heights. This kit is perfect for a child though, as it's future-proof. It can be set up very low and can grow up with them. The module on the Donner DED 200 Max is small and simple, but it still manages to have a number of features you would expect. It has dual zone on the snare pad, although as mentioned before, it's a little bit flawed. The rest of the tom pads are single zone. Both Crash and Ride have choke functionality, which can be useful for grades and for learning certain songs. They're both single zone, so no bell of the ride if that's needed. The kit has 450 sounds and 31 drum kit presets, including the ability to create your own. Although keep in mind that there's only one user kit for you to customize. There are 50 play-along songs, inbuilt metronome, aux input for plugging into a device and playing along with music, and a recording functionality for you to record yourself and hear yourself back to help improve the learning experience. It's worth noting the module does not support Bluetooth, which is something that you're probably considering, especially as both Roland and Alesis are now offering electric drum kits with Bluetooth support around the beginner drum kit level. While probably not a deal breaker for most, the ability to connect a device to the module without buying a cable in order to do so is an advantage. Something worth pointing out is that if you already have a small guitar practice amp or something like that, the kit actually comes with an instrument cable that will allow you to plug straight into that amp and hear it pretty much straight out of the box. So that's a nice little addition. The module's got one expansion input, allowing you to potentially plug in a second bass drum pad for double pedals or an additional cymbal. It's good to have this, but worth noting that at this price point, a lot of other electric kits offer 2 expansion slots. The kit does come with headphones and a stool, so overall, where it is a bit simple, it could be an attractive purchase for most beginners as it will come ready to go straight out of the box. I've not had the chance to test this kit out with double pedals yet, but it does look like the pad is just large enough to support certain makes and models of double pedals, similar to the Alesis Nitro Max. The response of the pad would be a concern for me for the faster bass drum passages. So if you were planning on using double pedals with this kit, I would recommend purchasing another bass drum tower and pedal and using that expansion slot in the module. At the time of recording this video, the RRP on this kit is £585.99, and on the Donner web store it's being sold for £533.99. However, with a discount code that reduces it again to a very impressive £439.99. The great thing about Donner is that they often have a number of sales that go on throughout the year, and they've got a Black Friday reduction coming up very soon. That's one of the reasons why they sent me this kit. They've actually sent me 2 codes as well. If you use the code RHYTHM, you'll get 12 to 15% off, and this is valid all year round. But if you time it between the 29th of November and the 2nd of December in 2024 and use the code RH-BFCM, nice and memorable, you'll get up to 25% off, which is very impressive. I've put the links in the description of this video. To summarise, this kit is an interesting task because for a very competitive price you can buy a kit with the accessories that means it's ready to play straight out of the box. It's hardy and it feels strong when it's put together. Its frame is considerably better as well than when compared to something like the Alesis Nitro Max. The sounds are good enough at this level and it has pretty good customization of those sounds too. I think it's a good kit for a child or a beginner, but an intermediate to an experienced player may struggle with the responsiveness on the hi-hat and bass drum pads during faster playing and with the rim shots behaving a bit strangely. It's very close to being a perfect beginner/intermediate kit for me. I think it really only needs a couple of tweaks in order to achieve that. If you can get this kit on a good deal, then it's worth considering, and Black Friday is around the corner. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe as it really helps us out. If you have any thoughts or questions, please put them in the comments section. Thanks again, I'll see you next time.